Tom Aspinall may have the corniest fan base in MMA in the year 2025. Like, it's getting painfully corny at this point. Whenever I see Tom Aspinall on camera anywhere, that's all I see now. A cornball with his head on it, with Kamaru Usman's arm and belt around his shoulder. And the cornballs just follow him in troves. And that's literally every single comment section that has ever been in the last 3 weeks since that goofy petition has started going around the internet. We get that you want the fight. I want the fight. We all want the fight. But I need every single person who may be on this train or this kick to be like, just strip Jon Jones no matter what the MMA post is about. Pull it out of your mouth and backside. One of the reasons why Tom Aspinall is someone who I find so corny is because of his skit marketing ploys. Since the UFC doesn't promote their athletes unless they're about to fight, this means that fighters must take personal responsibility for gaining hype outside of their training camps, so most rely on skits to accomplish this. But Tom Aspinall's bits are always super corny. Whenever he was challenging for the interim title, he told Ariel Helwani that he was soaking his knuckles in petroleum, and that was a lie. He ended up coming out and saying that it was a lie, but he took videos of himself like with fake gasoline and putting his hands inside of the buckets there. Jon Jones made this guy put on a fucking ducky mask and shoot an internet video inside of it. Are we really even blaming this guy for sopping and smelling the flowers a little bit? This guy Tom Aspinall is completely wrapped around his finger. I'd be trolling that guy's ass off if I was Jon Jones. How these skits by fighters are received by the media is all dependent on how well you're liked. Volk and Tom get a pass to do this type of stuff, where fighters like Jamal Hill get roasted for trying to make funny internet videos and be like TikTok present and be influencers in their own respect. People are like, oh yeah, you're just gonna get knocked out. Or they just put Pereira gifs inside of the comment sections. It's never anything insightful, it's just gifs, man, every single time. Alex Pereira proved the fickle attitude that most people have towards this type of hype building because they praised Alex Shama gags while he was still winning, and as soon as he lost to Magomed, they started criticizing him for making that same style of content. They were like, why are you not training wrestling right now, Alex? Or shouldn't you be working to get your belt back right now? Skits directed at making callouts are only funny sometimes, like whenever Buckley does them, or Colby Covington and Ian Gary, they went back and forth with callouts, because they were getting disrespectful, and they were actually dragging each other, and like using playground insults, and building hype for the fight. In my opinion, whenever Tom Aspinall does it, I think that he's very dry, and his humor is very boring, and he has no aura, so it just looks lame and desperate whenever he does it. And he's doing it with no response. And that makes it cringe. If someone online was making videos to poke fun at me, I'd just be satisfied with knowing that I have a rent-free luxury condo built in their head and that I can pee and poop in there whenever I want. And I don't have to pay a dime to do that. This shit is like making someone crash out on Xbox. Jon Jones is just employing gamer tactics right now, and they're digging right deep under Jon Jones' skin and under everyone else's skin who's getting mad on behalf of Tom Aspinall. Like, they can even do that. Fans with no salt in the game, other than the fact that they watch fights on Saturday, are getting more upset over the fact that this fight isn't happening than Tom Aspinall himself. It wasn't his bit, but also he was put on the spot by Nina Drama, and he tried to be funny and quirky and weird, and he ended up saying something so cringe. Have you ever been fingered by an MMA fighter to Nina Drama? And what would it take? Imagine how bad we would have dragged Sean O'Malley for saying something so stupid in an interview. And I know it's just cherry picking because those other moments are very few and far between, but whenever he got a little bit animated, look where it went. And this is a guy who we're like, oh, he's so much better than Jon Jones. This guy is not a star, bro. At least with Jon Jones, you have like the worry of like, oh, is he gonna make it to next month? Or are we gonna get another headline that he's crashed out in Las Vegas? It's entertainment, dude. This is an entertainment industry. And with the fact that Tom Aspinall has close to no aura, fans are not helping this. 100k people signing on to this petition to strip Jon Jones is like 100k people posting black screens to end racism in America. The UFC touts itself to be an innately conservative brass, and the fact that it isn't woke like football or basketball is something that we love it for. So these dudes really think that Dana White is gonna be pressured by a gaggle of dweebs who's led by a guy who, I mean, there's no way for me to really say this without being disrespectful. Tony has died, the guy who made this petition.
He sounds like this when he talks.
He sounds like he's drowning above water. And we really can't do anything to Jon Jones as fans other than stop watching the sport unless one of us can knock him out. So if your solution is to stop watching, then the door is like right over there, dude. You're likely just a casual fan who just started watching during COVID, and this shit isn't for you anyways. I may be the only person, I was thinking about this at my job, dude. I may be the only person who got into the sport of MMA in the year of 2020 who isn't a dirty casual. Because the rest of the people who are in this class of guys who got into watching this sport at around the time that I did, they're currently acting to drag it down as far as possible in 2025. And this is ridiculous. People are using Jones versus Aspinall as a foot in the door to now complain about all the shortcomings of the organization at once, without acknowledging all the moving parts that go into making fights. I recently just tore my ACL, and surgery and recovery has been an absolute motherfucker. One of the most painful experiences I have ever gone through, and people are angry that Shavkat isn't anywhere. He just posted sparring footage, I think today, and he is nothing but skin and bones right now. So these fans just demand, where is Shavkat? Shavkat's being lazy, taking all this time off. We don't know what's happening. There's so many things going on and so much that goes into making these fights that we just don't understand. And I know it sounds like a cop-out for me to say, but everyone's going to throw their opinion out into the fray without actually having all of the details about what's exactly going on. Shavkat was probably seriously fucked up whenever he was fighting Ian Gary. And if it was anything like my injury, I cannot believe that he won that fight. He is really good. I used to hate on Shavkat. I will never do that again. When Aspinall fights Jon, nobody can help him from the crowd. He has already stated that he has issues with fear that he worked through to be able to compete at the level that he does, but this is the biggest fight of his life and the biggest moment of his life whenever Bruce Buffer is going to be saying his name, and I think that this might arrest him so he doesn't appear as the same fighter that we usually see him as, especially after this layoff now. So this fan base is impatient, it flips on a dime, and it spends all day in comment sections trying to be smarter than itself and expose casuals whenever everyone partaking in the conversation is one most of the time. The average fan in 2025 of MMA just wants to see the UFC destroyed because they are hurt over one thing or another thing that happened. And this is like someone's bitter ex-girlfriend, dude. People are posting the milestones and they're like, yeah, Dana's not gonna be able to ignore us soon enough. Yeah, he can. He will. It's like, Jon, please. Jon, please. This is literally how Tom Aspinall sounds in 2025. The fans call Jones a duck, and they really sound whiny too whenever they're just begging on their hands and knees for this fight. Really, it's Jon Jones commanding the speech and actions of everyone involved in this space. And what do you think that does for him as a self-proclaimed narcissist, dude? He's enjoying all of the attention that he's getting. And the heavyweight champion of any major fight organization is a very important role to be served. And people feel like he's underserving it, and that's why they're calling for him to step down. And they're saying that the UFC doesn't need him. I mean, it's Jon Jones, dude. What makes us not casuals in the space of combat sports is knowing that of all men to ever live, Jon Jones wins every fight. And now we're just going to act like he's nothing because one fight is taking a long time to form. That is such a crazy thing, dude. I really can't believe this. Another thing that blows my mind is how MMA fans just work for free whenever it comes to YouTubers with a large platform. Especially those with fan bases who are known for starting witch hunts like MMA Guru. They develop personas around their followings. MMA Guru's thing is Jerusalem. It's like Jerusalem, it's like Israel. They make jokes about Israel versus Palestine, and they mob for him, and they say things like Jon Jones being stripped was promised 4,000 years ago because Jew jokes in 2025 are edgy, you guys, and they're funny, you know? The average MMA fan is like the dog from that one science experiment whose mouth would water whenever someone rung a bell after they were given a treat after the first 3 rings. I fuck with Lucas Tracy and Bedtime MMA for the fact that they don't ever command their fan bases to go flood comments or contribute to causes they have personal interests attached to. Except for that motherfucker's cookbook, he's always plugging that thing. And the funniest part about all of this is how people are perceiving the MMA community as being united around this cause. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall with getting made won't unite everyone. Because the big MMA YouTubers, they're just going to replace this issue with something else and keep their viewers in a frenzy. To where we're always going to be like, oh, the UFC sucks, bro. I'm going to stop watching this year, man. This sucks so bad. Like, bro, shut up, dude. Shut up. Just a bunch of nerds. Like, dude, I'm 99% sure we'll get this fight. It does fall on Jon Jones. If it doesn't happen, it will likely be his fault. I don't see Tom Aspinall losing a fight that he may take before this one, but if you dislike this video because you disagree with me and he does lose to Gon or Almeida, if they fight before Tom and Jon, by some miracle, Tom Aspinall slips on a banana peel and Jailton Almeida sinks in a rear naked choke, how silly are you going to feel? Just think about it for a second, man. All of this fighting just for that guy to lose against some dude you would have never thought would have beat him, and a guy who would for sure get smashed by Jon Jones. Unless Jailton Almeida's just been cooking up something that we just haven't been knowing about this whole time. But this is the largest point. There is a November card being held in Madison Square Garden, and these yuppies aren't even waiting for these pieces of news to get announced before blowing their stacks, man. Tony Has Died may be a UFC industry plan who started that petition to build hype for the Tom Aspinall fight that will be confirmed for November and June in this announcement that he planned. It could go just like that, and all of this time that we've wasted being upset will have just been wasted time that you could have spent being excited for other fights in the future. I'll debate that dude Tony Has Died on why he's overreacting for the fact that Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall hasn't happened yet. I'll do it on Instagram Live, even though that guy doesn't even show his face, bro. But I'd do that, bro. It'd be fun. I think personally as fans, we're towing the lines of being ungrateful. Because all of these events are free, bruh. Like, someone pays, but this is a free watch for people who aren't suckers. If you're dying to stick it to the UFC, steal their shit. This way, all you invest is time and attention, and you get to watch people get knocked out for free. And if this is the arrangement that you already have with the organization, and your viewership is held at zero cost, what the hell are you complaining for? A fight that got announced today, not a big fight. It's just kind of a fight. I mean, it does involve Petr Yan, so that's pretty cool. But Petr Yan versus Marcus Mcghee is going to happen on July 26th in Abu Dhabi. I'm going to break down this fight real quick before I do end the video. Marcus Mcghee is 35, and at this stage of his career, this is kind of his last shot to make it into the rankings. He's in this matchup. Petr Yan is only 33. The thing that makes me nervous for him in this fight with Jan is the fact that Marcus Mcghee was unsuccessful at mitigating the leg kick offense of Johnny Martinez. And I'm not intimating that Petr Yan will come out there just trying to kick his leg in half, but the fact that he couldn't shut down a striking specialist whose one excelling technique isn't a punch probably means that Jan can be unorthodox and score with crazy setups in this match. Jan is revered for his boxing acumen in the UFC, but he has this tendency to not box with people and to make fights much more messy than an MMA fight held between two people who prefer to use their hands only. Marcus Mcghee, after watching some of his fights, he may need his opponents to only box with him to be successful. Gaston Bolaños is a pretty prime example of this. He integrated a couple of takedown attempts which were stuffed by Marcus Mcghee, because if you're a striker, you gotta be able to stuff a takedown. He was able to do this, but on the feet, no types of real kick offense out of Gaston Bolaños. It was mainly just boxing, and Marcus Mcghee pieced him up and ended up knocking him out. When fighters try to win a fight the way that Marcus Mcghee likes to win his fights, they usually lose against him. But Petr Yan is not going to play his game at all. This is a crazy jump in scheduling for Marcus Mcghee as well. His last 5 scheduled fights, including this one coming up, is going to be with Journey Newsom, JP Bays, Gaston Bolaños, and Jonathan Martinez, and now he's going to get Petr Yan. I believe he's biting off way more than he can chew in this matchup, because he knows that with his age, his window is closing. And I'm done sleeping on Petr Yan after I selected Davison Figueiredo to knock him out. That was a really low IQ pick on my part. This is going to be like throwing a new chew toy in front of your dog and watching them put a hole in it in the first few seconds of playing with it. People complain about scheduling, but Umar isn't planned to come back until October. Sean and Merab are both in a fight scheduled 2 weeks from now, and he already beat Corey really badly, and Corey just fought Figueiredo. And Figueiredo is done, and he's already fought that guy. So Petr Yan is just collecting free money at this point, and a man's got to eat. And we'll still get a good fight with a potential highlight reel KO from Yan on this card, July 26th in Abu Dhabi. I'm excited for it. I found it fun to root for Marcus Mcghee, as he was just a small-time prelim fighter knocking out these unknown guys who, like, can you even tell me a moment that you remember from a Journey Newsom fight? I cannot. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, you guys. Thank you so much for 300 subscribers. You guys are my favorite. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you. This is a very big moment, because I wanted to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the month, and I was able to do it with your guys' help, man. So I'm going to stay on the content. I hope that you guys are enjoying the uploads that I'm bringing. I'm going to keep with it. We're going to get some fights on Saturday. We took a week off last time, but this is like clockwork, baby. We don't stop. We just keep going. So you have a great day. If you made it to this point in the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you fellas in the next one.